What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Win podcast with your host, Aunt Ma, co host Justin Vaseur. And we've been uploading so many videos every week.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday through Friday for YouTube,
Yep.
and then the full episode on Sunday.
Yep.
And then we also have for like Spotify and all those things on Mondays.
Yep. So, guys, let us know in the comments below whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, because you can comment on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
We'll put the poll in there, or those questions in there for you guys. And let us know how you like this new format. If you like seeing these posts every single day, or is it too much for you guys?
Yeah.
So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how we started making big boy money. And what is big boy money?
I don't know. I think for me, big boy money was, for me personally, okay,
Yeah.
was like 5K and up a month.
Yeah. Yep.
That was kind of like big boy money.
I would say once you get out of the what you've been making for the last like 5 years or 10 years of your life,
Yeah.
all these little jobs that you've been doing as a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you took that next step in your life, got to the next level, and this is that next win that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is that big boy money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I agree with you. It is like starting at $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
I think for me, $5,000 a month was the first level of it, and now getting to the second level of like $10,000 to $12,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's like the really big boy money that I've reached. And then now getting a little bit higher and higher, it obviously just starts from the very first one, right?
Yeah,
It's what
of
they
course.
say. Your first million is the hardest to make,
Yeah.
and then every million after that is easy because you keep replicating it. And I'm not even there yet.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
You know what I
I'm not
mean?
there
Like,
either. I'm not even close.
maybe with assets I can be,
Mhm.
but I'm not even going to say I would have $1 million until I have $1 million in my bank account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we have to be a little bit realistic here, where like a lot of people, especially on social media right now, people talk about, oh, you need to be making 20K to be happy and all these things.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, 5K a month is,
that's more than enough.
I think that's big boy money. You know what I mean?
That's so sad because making 5K a month is like what people are paying a mortgage, right?
That's what's crazy, right?
So you got to make big boy money to live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, basically in today's world.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think if you find someone like a partner or whatever that also makes that money, I think it's obviously easier to afford that home.
right? Yeah, making 10,000 a month in a household, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think aiming for those goals of like 5K to 10K to 20K or whatever is
Yeah.
great. But yeah, there's a lot of these YouTube slash Instagram gurus like saying, oh, if you don't make 20K or up, you're a loser, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, bro.
I have never. Wow,
You've never heard that?
I have not.
Yeah.
Probably because I don't follow people like that.
I mean,
or
they're
like,
probably just clowning and just being
Right.
stupid, but
you know,
yeah.
when I think about it, I think because you and me were a little more old school and we're older than obviously what we were before. But I would say in our teenage years, early 20s, $5,000 a month is a lot, and that was
Mhm.
definitely big boy money.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in my 30s, that's not enough,
Yeah.
Like there's times when I had jobs at $5,000 a month, and then it had to be like a couple gigs for me to get there to maintain that for the month. But it wasn't enough, and probably
Yeah.
because I have kids, it's a family.
Yeah, that's a lot different. I think it depends on what you have on your plate for
Yeah.
sure. If you're coming out of college, you might have like a condo or something or an apartment,
Yeah.
and it's just you. 5K might be
That's a lot.
a lot. You have a beater car or something, and you just save that money to buy an asset in the future. That's great money.
Do you think in today's world, how a lot of people are in the tech world and they're making a lot of freaking money,
Yeah.
is that normal nowadays, or is that still like a rare group?
I still think it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's rare. A lot of people talk about how you can be making this much money in the tech world, but even when you get into it, you realize how hard it actually is. And so I still think it's rare. There is opportunity to make that money, but you still have to do the work. You still have to study. You still have to find those jobs that pay that. So I think it's rare.
So at what age did you start making big boy money?
I think I was 26, maybe,
That sounds about right.
or 25.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a tease.
What do you mean?
So like I would have a couple months where I would hit at least like 5K
Yeah.
and then some months 10K.
Whoa.
Yeah. But then I would have other months where it was like 1200 or something.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, so even I got that taste of big boy money,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't consistent.
I see.
You know what I mean? That was like the start of my photography video career. Or at least like at the very tip of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so seeing that and then being like, oh, this is the potential. I tried really hard to have that be a consistent thing,
Mm-hmm.
but being a freelancer, it is difficult,
Yeah.
you know? And so I would have like this motion through the
Right.
years or throughout the year,
So
I should say.
prior to that, um, how much were you making? Was it just like minimum wage at the Just Tires?
Yeah, it was about $10 an hour, $9 an hour.
Yeah.
But at that time I was working three jobs. I was doing that. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch,
Nice.
in the back packing all the stuff,
You
and
do look
then
like an Abercrombie guy.
no wait, I was in the back, dude. And, like even the stuff that we were wearing, I guess it was Abercrombie, but the stuff that we were wearing was like completely different than everybody in the front.
Oh,
Um,
I see. They're
yeah,
like, let's keep the short guy in the back.
no, it was actually all the cool guys and
In the back?
yeah,
Oh,
all the cool
okay.
people in the back. We were like blasting music and just packing stuff, and then you would have like the models come in. We're like, "Psh, okay, but
By the way, me and Justin are the same height.
yeah, I'm taller. No, I'm just kidding. My foot touches the ground. No, I'm just kidding.
Mine does right now too.
And then I worked at a custom paint shop. So I had three sources of income. The custom paint shop. Can I say it's? Yeah, I can say. What the hell? It was under the table.
Yeah, why not?
Um,
How many under the table jobs have we had? A lot.
yeah. It was under the table. I was getting good money from that. That one was paying me, I think, like $12 an hour, and I think
Yeah.
at that time that was pretty good for my age, you know. And then Discount Tire, $10 an hour, and then Abercrombie was, I think, the least. It was like $8 or something.
So this was all before you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what made you think that you had to actually make that switch and to be like, man, three jobs and they're all minimum wage. Like I want to make this big boy money and do more with my life. Like what made you think about that?
Well, it actually wasn't the switch from those jobs to freelance.
Yeah.
I made that switch just seeing the fact that I can make money from a hobby. You know, I was
Mm.
like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is something different. I'll try to do that route.
Yeah.
So doing that, I think I had my first gig, and I want to say it was like $500 for like 2 hours of filming. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
That's when the light bulb kicked in.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I could do this. And then I quit my jobs. And when I quit my jobs, it was kind of like a weird timing
Yeah.
because right after I didn't get any gigs.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really about maybe a couple of months into this freelance world where I was like, all right, I really got to hustle it because I know the potential. I know, I saw what was going on and how
Yeah.
much money I can make. And then after that, it was just more about getting the clients in.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it was probably around the same age. I don't remember, between 25 and 28 is when I really started making that money.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to 25, it was just like, I had a job where I was making like maybe $3,000 a month for 1 year. Another year it'd be like $2,000 a month. So when I had a $3,000 a month job, I was like, wow, this is nice. I'm
Yeah.
having an adult job.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a kid, right? But then I realized, like, how am I ever going to do more? I'm around all these people who have a lot of money, and I can never be like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like even at a young age, like I can't go to the club with them because I can't buy drinks like they do. They always want to go get bottle service. I can't afford that stuff.
Yeah.
So how do I make big boy money? I even did. I worked a job for over a year, and it was commission only. And we made phone calls every single day, cold calling to refinance people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a year and a half, and got zero deals. This is when I was 21. I didn't even know what I was selling at the time. I just knew I saw my friends making like $20,000 paychecks. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, how are they doing that? Well, let me follow. And I made zero in a year and a half. Zero money working a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there from 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
That's crazy.
And so that was a switch where I was like, damn, I know I can do better. How do I make that big boy money? And so this is when my dad was thinking about. So I just graduated culinary school. I did a lot of grunt work for the next 5 years, making minimum wage at celebrity restaurants,
Mm.
right? Like I just paid 50 grand in culinary school, and I got this Hispanic guy next to me, and we're both making minimum wage. Like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
He didn't pay 50 grand, right? And so I did that for 5 years, and I got so tired of it. My dad was like, "Hey, he sees I can do a lot of food stuff, so he has an opportunity." A friend says, "Hey, you want to open a restaurant?" He goes, "Sure. Let me bring my son in." And then so my dad and this guy are the owners, and then I invest in the restaurant as well. So now I'm an investor, and I don't have to cook because it's Chinese food, and he has me being a manager for the restaurant. So we have this restaurant in Alhambra on Valley Boulevard where all the Asian food is, Asian cafes, and it was right on the corner of Garfield and Valley, where everybody who watches the video should know where that is. All right. And we had this Chinese restaurant. It was more like a high end cafe cuisine. They call it like gourmet cafes.
Okay.
So um, the hardest thing was that so I was making right there like $3,000 a month, and then plus shares from investing, and that's where I got my first taste. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is how all these other adults are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing pretty well, but I left the business because I learned that it's so hard to run a Chinese restaurant full of Chinese immigrants cooking in the back, servers, all those people, and they don't listen to an American kid. I
Mm.
was the only American one who understood the health codes, how to keep the place clean, dealing with inspectors, dealing with the city, permits, all that stuff, and dealing with all the American customers. But when you got to tell the cooks, like, hey, you can't wash your hands in the prep sink, you got to wash it in the hand sink, they're like, what the fuck? It's just water, dude. You
Yeah.
know? But, um, you know, it was really hard working with Chinese people who didn't believe in you. So I left it. And this is when I was like, okay, I'm going to buy my first business. Now, this is when the big boy money came in. I didn't know what I was going to buy. So I went on Craigslist and I was like, what kind of business can I buy with less than 100K? Because I've been saving up, and then now my dad sees me as a screw up because I went to college and didn't do anything with my degree. Tried investing with him, didn't really work out. He's like, okay, this guy's gonna be like 26 years old. What else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
So now my dad wants to help me out. I have money saved up. He's like, why don't you just go look for a business? So I'm finding a business where I don't have to be there every day, and I found it on Craigslist, and it was a laundromat. And I bought this laundromat, and I'm like thinking, how much money can it really make? I don't know, but what I do know is that I can have a job and run this business.
Yeah.
Now I can really make big boy money, right? So now I have a job for $3,000 a month, and I have this laundromat business that was bringing in about, I think it was bringing in like 4 to 6 thousand a month at the time, and I only had to be there 30 minutes a day
Mm.
just to sweep and clean. you know. Then I also hired, so that laundromat was in Pasadena. Next door was a Mexican restaurant, and there's a guy that's always sweeping outside when they're closing up. And I was like, hey, you want to make some extra money? Once you close the restaurant, come to the laundromat, come clean it up for 30 minutes, and I'll give you, $100 a week.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll pay it to you in vouchers of the laundromat to
Oh,
come wash
really?
your clothes and dry your clothes. So it wasn't even cash.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, sure, free laundry.
Yeah.
So now I never had to go to the laundromat, and this guy was just cleaning it up for me. I didn't have to pay him, and in 3 months, I flipped the business for double of what I paid for.
Oh, wow.
So in 3 months, I made over $100,000, and that's where I was like, oh shit, this is really how it works.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably the light bulb in my head where I was like, this is that next win. I got a huge win right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how am I going to replicate that 100K into the next ones and the next ones?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where it all started.
Yeah. I think for me, I also had a switch, but this is very recent.
Yeah.
I've always had the idea of um, automating things.
Yeah.
And so the vision was to always have like a studio or have some sort of agency, creative agency.
Yeah.
And, doing this for 10 plus years now, it's like I don't always want to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I can give the opportunity to other people, and um, some people like editing, some people like filming, if I could just give them those gigs and
Yeah.
take a small cut or something like that, then I'm down for that. And so that's kind of what I've been transitioning into, is finding my editors, finding my filmers,
Yeah.
and just having them knock out the content.
You
Um,
know, what people don't know is that so being a videographer and photographer, you're always behind the camera.
yeah,
For me, prior to doing this podcast and other things, I was also behind the camera all the time, right?
yeah,
I was a camera operator for JK, director, producer, all that type of stuff, right?
yeah,
And so I was always behind the camera as well. And this is the first time where you and me have made that switch and we're in front of the camera now.
yeah.
Like, this is awesome,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
it's it's definitely weird for me. So if I'm ever awkward on the camera,
I think
then
you're doing great,
you
bro.
know why. But
Like,
yeah, I'm trying to make that switch.
yeah,
Even with my personal like YouTube channel, like I have a couple things in the works. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to be in front of the camera now. But even just people don't know how like stressful it can be.
oh, for sure.
When you're like a one man team.
Hmm.
So like you're doing all the editing, all the filming, and all those things, and it gets pretty stressful. And doing those things for so many years, it's like, all right, I think taking the next leap is what I need to do, which is hire help
Yep.
and or create a team.
That's where it starts is actually figuring out how to grow your business and scaling,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, if you don't do that, you're just gonna be stuck in the same position.
Hmm.
But how do you get to that next win is by scaling and just letting go of certain things.
Yeah, um, yeah. I think you have to look at yourself and be like, is this something that I want to do forever? Um, do I want to scale it? What kind of life do I want to live? Do I
Yeah.
want to have more time for myself? And if you can, like, try to figure out those processes to make that happen. And once you do that, I think, your business can flourish for sure.
Junbi Matcha serves high quality matcha straight from the farms in Japan. The matcha leaves are hand picked by farmers to create the purest form of matcha straight to your cup. They currently have 5 locations around the US, 2 of them being in the LA area, which is Roland Heights and Westwood, 1 in Princeton, New Jersey, 1 in Dallas, Texas, and their newest location on the Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, Hawaii. If you don't have a Junbi near you, you can always purchase their matcha tins or pre-made packs. The most popular are the blueberry matcha and the vanilla matcha. You can just mix it with water and you'll have the same great tasting Junbi teas at the comfort of your own home. Did you have any jobs or any businesses that you've done where you had to take that risk and you didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah, definitely.
Like what?
So one was a wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's huge.
Yeah, it was pretty big, but luckily I was like second shooter.
Okay, but at a wedding, you have like, what are they called? Bridezillas?
Yeah.
Right? And they have grooms where this is their life, their
Yeah.
memory of they've been thinking about this their entire life.
Yeah.
And they hired you who didn't know what they're going to do. Like, you had no idea how to shoot wedding stuff.
I did have the skill set in just like filming in general.
Right.
But it was my first wedding gig, and like I said, luckily I was the second shooter, so I had somebody else who was like taking lead.
Yeah.
For the wedding.
Did they know that you didn't have any
Yeah, they
experience?
knew. Yeah,
And
they
didn't
knew.
care.
That's the weird thing is like people will see my work,
Yeah.
and a lot of my work is like conceptual and weird stuff sometimes. And they just like it, and they just decide to hire me for a wedding.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so like sometimes I'll do maybe like a portrait that's very creative.
Yeah.
And then I'll get inquiries to do headshots for a business, and I'm like, how does that work out? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
People don't know that there's a difference.
Yeah, there is a
in every
difference.
skill sets.
Yeah,
Like,
So-
like if they think that you're a good basketball player, you can play point guard all the way through center.
yeah,
But just like in basketball, every position has its own specialty. Same thing with being a photographer.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Some people specialize in clothes.
yeah,
Some people specialize in lifestyle.
hmm
And some people specialize in music videos.
yeah. And so yeah, for some reason they like believed in me and thought my work was good. So
Were they right?
yeah, they were right.
Of
It
course.
was definitely something that I was nervous about.
Yeah,
Because you do have to deal with like those bridezillas, and that wedding I did deal with a bridezilla.
really.
Yeah, and they're just like super moody.
Yeah.
And I'm just there to I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to capture your moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to be rude to me. And plus, they're spending the money
Yeah.
for me to capture these moments.
You said that to her?
No, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, there's times where I've had to explain it. Like, I'm trying to capture your best moments.
Yeah.
Let's work together on
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? Because sometimes they'll be frustrated with either the makeup artist or whatever's going on and
Yeah.
take out their anger on me. Um, but yeah, you just have to like reassure them. But yeah, this wedding, it was fun. I was the second shooter. I got all like the B-roll stuff, and it ended up going really good, even though I didn't know what I was doing really.
Yeah.
Another one was food photography. I never did that before, but
Yeah.
somebody like recommended me, and then the person reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
I'll shoot it. And then that one went pretty well.
So
Um,
what do you have to do to really like fake it till you make it when you do these type of gigs?
well, what I personally did was let's say if I got this gig,
Yeah.
I studied the crap out of like other people's work. I went on YouTube to see like how do you prep for these type of shoots.
Yeah.
Um, for the food one, I was looking up how to light these things. Um,
Nice. So you did it a legit way where it's like you actually did the research. Like I've even researched how to shoot food too. People have like sometimes a spray bottle and they
yeah,
spray the hamburger
yeah.
so it makes it look
Even
like it's
stuff that you
fresh.
yeah. There's even stuff that you specifically have to use for that. Sometimes people use fake food,
Yeah.
or substitutes, things that look like the food.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would do my research for like that week before, and then just kind of cross my fingers, and then see if things went well.
That's way better than what I did.
Really?
So, in the last episode or previously, I was talking about me buying a laundromat. Right,
Hmm.
I had no idea how to run one before, but I did it and I flipped it for double the price. Right, and so with that money, I was like, "What am I gonna do? I'm gonna get tax the grip. I need to buy another business." So I went back on Craigslist and I'm like, "What can I buy that's just gonna generate me money?" And so I found a liquor store. I was like, man, liquor store shouldn't be hard. It's always selling products. There's no way you're gonna lose money. And so I bought the liquor store and I had no idea how to run one. I never ran a store by myself,
Hmm.
let alone, a retail store like that. And alcohol. Yeah, I used to drink a lot, but there's so many types of alcohol and
Yeah.
different things I had no idea about. And then there's like all these vendors you gotta deal with, like calling the Cheeto man out here to restock your Cheetos, all your other stuff that's you sell in a convenience store that's not beverages or snacks. So I learned so much, but I had no idea what I was doing. I bought a business with no experience, you know, $150,000 business with
That's
no
crazy.
experience. And why would I do that? I don't know. I wish I researched it like you and like figured out like what do I need to do.
Hmm.
And so I definitely bit off more than I could chew.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest risk of my life. And I think that was probably the stupidest business I ever picked up
Really.
because not only did I not know what I was doing, it wasn't a passion, so I didn't care about scaling it. Um, I did realize that after trying to, so in a liquor store business, it never closes. Holidays, you're open because people are buying alcohol during holidays. They're barbecuing. They want to buy bottles,
Hmm.
things like that. Same thing for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve. You're always open. So for 3 years, I worked 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't need to stay till like 2 a.m. And then after I close, I got to go buy inventory because sometimes a supermarket like Ralph's will sell a Hennessy bottle for $15, and that's $5 cheaper than the wholesale
Really.
manufacturer who sells it for $23. So I would just go buy it at Ralph's, things like that, and pay double tax.
Yeah.
Um, before the store opens, yeah, I would be going to the wholesalers, go to downtown in the morning, buy some Mexican candies, some toys and stuff like that, right? Buy some laundry detergents.
Hmm.
And so um, after doing that, so you're working those long hours, buying stuff before the shop opens, buying stuff after the shop opens. I'm literally sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a day for 3 years. And when you hire someone for a liquor store, nobody wants to work there.
Yeah.
It's a liquor store,
Yeah.
you know? And if you think you're going to hire someone smart, you got it all wrong. Like, what smart person is going to work there?
Yeah.
So now you're dealing with, people who don't know what they're doing in their life and just have maybe zero experience.
Hmm.
And those are the people you're hiring. So overall, it was like the worst experience of my life. I did make a lot of money at the time. It was probably like maybe like 8 to 12 grand a month
Yeah.
owning a liquor store. depending on how well I took care of it and how much stuff I didn't eat that month, in my own place. Um, but yeah, it was definitely big boy money, but that was probably the biggest risk because I wasted 3 years of my life. I
Mm.
could have done something else with that
Yeah.
in buying a business. So um, definitely, I would just like you. I recommend researching before you take something you don't know what to do.
I mean, I get so much anxiety just coming into those kinds of things, so I feel
Yeah,
like I have to do something.
I mean,
Even if
can you imagine when I had the laundromat? Machines would break every day, and I had
hmm
no idea how to fix it. But I would use YouTube and learn how to fix it.
yeah.
You know,
hmm
like I'm that guy that's like, take it and deal with it later.
Yeah.
But for you, it's almost the opposite. You made sure that you could handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say made sure. It was just like it's kind of like a last minute studying for the test
Yeah,
kind of thing. And I tried to just cram everything in and then just cross my fingers. Same thing with nightclub stuff.
yeah.
There was one time where I got hired for a nightclub photography and never done that before. Didn't even have the proper equipment at that time. So I think it was like 2 days or a day before I ended up buying like a flash, practicing in my home. Like I remember putting like I think it was um, a plant or something in front of me,
Yeah.
and then trying to balance the flash with the exposure of the natural light that's coming in.
Wow.
Um, and then
You're really
trying,
trying to take it to the next level.
yeah, trying like different tricks and stuff to get um, like motion blur because that's the style I was seeing at these nightclubs.
Yeah.
And then I went to the nightclub and started shooting, and I was like, okay, this is coming out kind of okay.
Yeah.
Um, and that ended up working out pretty well. But after that, I ended up moving to LA anyway. So,
How much money do you think you're making doing the nightclub stuff?
well, I think I got really lucky. I had a few friends that recommended me some gigs and that paid well, and it was like an average of like 500 to 600 bucks for the night, which was like 2 hours, 3 hours of doing photography.
I see. And you're doing it like 3 nights a week or something.
Like 2 nights a
Okay.
weekend. Yeah.
So that was like 4 grand a month, which is a pretty big step from what you were doing prior to that.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, it would be a strong couple months and then it would
Yeah.
go away, you know?
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that uh, it sounds like it was worth the risk of not knowing what you're doing and
Oh, yeah,
just
for
learning as
sure.
you go.
Yeah. It was
So,
definitely worth the risk, you know, with the income that I brought.
so I've never seen anyone ever say, "Don't take the job," and because you can't handle it. I
hmm
always hear everyone say, "Just take it and figure it out."
Yeah.
Right?
And if you can, do your research prior.
Yeah. Now we've taken those risks, right? We made the good money. We learned some life lessons. But what did you actually learn through those experiences?
Just don't be afraid to take those opportunities, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's major key. Um, don't be afraid is the biggest thing, right? Anything that feels uncomfortable to you, that's when you know you're gonna have some growth, right? Because
yeah,
you're
I
gonna
mean, it's
learn.
okay to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay to feel uncomfortable and use that as a stepping stone to take yourself to the next step, I guess.
I have a few clients who want to buy a home and they never have, and so we go through the whole process, and then in the end, they get so scared, they get cold feet, and they just say, "You know what? I don't want to buy a home right now. I'm not ready," and then
Really?
like, ghosted.
Whoa.
And I'm like, man, that's what you don't want to do. Like, I get it if you have cold feet or like something's just not the right time, but don't completely shut it off. It's still
Yeah.
a learning experience.
Yeah.
Like, we still got to somehow move forward, even if it's like 2 years later,
hmm
But when you ghost it and you completely stop, it's like you're running away from your problems. That's probably the worst thing that you guys can do.
Yeah. What's cool about that, or what's cool about taking those opportunities too, is that it might lead you into your dream job or a dream opportunity or even dream income,
Yeah.
even. You know what I mean? Like you could, let's say you were doing photography and you took this wedding gig or nightclub gig, and now you landed a job where you're making 10K a month.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Just for me taking that opportunity that I
Yeah.
was afraid of.
Yeah, I mean, it always opens doors for more opportunities. And I think for myself, running businesses that I had zero clue of how to run, it definitely gave me the opportunity to where I'm now versatile in doing pretty much whatever I want.
Yeah, same.
right? Like
Yeah.
I can do anything now. All you guys see me on my vlogs and all the things that I do, and you're like, man, this guy knows how to do everything. Jacks of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I just do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so when I had people like our friends in the YouTube world who are like, hey, come join me and help me and my business grow. And I'm like, the reason why they see that is because they see that I was a business owner and I could do anything.
Yeah.
So if I can do anything for myself, I could do anything for them, for this guy, And so people see that and they'll take that as like, you know, a very valuable person.
Yeah. There's recently this lady asked me, "Oh, what do you specialize in?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can literally do whatever right now.
Yeah.
And not in a bragging way, just more of like um I've put myself in positions where I've tried this, I've tried that, I've done these things, and what's cool too is I dove into those worlds too, so I
Yeah.
understand those worlds, like whether it's like the car scene, nightclub, MMA, whatever the case may be. I'm
Yeah.
able to photograph those or take video of those scenarios or scenes, and I feel like I can make it look decent.
Yeah, I think so too. You're a really good photographer. And there's a lot of people who say they can do everything now.
Hmm.
And when I hear that, I don't judge them because obviously I know that they've experienced a lot. So I ask them, well, what is your favorite thing to do out
Yeah.
of what you've done?
Hmm.
And that will tell me what they really specialize in,
Yeah.
or like what they're the best at.
Yeah.
This is the most popular matcha tin. It gives you the energy you need to prepare for your day without the crash, mainly because of its high quality. Make your own matcha at home with their daily ceremonial grade matcha. All you have to do is scoop, whisk, and enjoy. So, this matcha tin is 100% pure shade grown, finely milled matcha. It's sourced from a 100-year-old farm in Japan. It pairs deliciously with other ingredients, and it fuels you to prepare daringly for your adventures ahead. And once we started making good money, did for me, I didn't start throwing money away. I think when I was younger and I had that first $3,000 a month job, I started throwing some money away. But when I started making like, $5,000 to $10,000 a month, I was actually starting to save up and reinvesting it back into the businesses
Hmm.
or myself.
Hmm.
What did you do? Because when you started making $5,000 a month in your photography business, now obviously, what did you have to do? Like, did you scale your business, buy more equipment? What did you do with all this money that you made?
Yeah, I mean, initially, I don't know if this would be a bad decision or a good decision. I think it was a mix of both. Um, but I went straight into renting like a really cool spot.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was always my vision, was to have my first spot be a really cool, clean um, location.
What was this spot for?
So the spot was obviously a living space, but also a studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So it was mainly a living space in the sense of um, how the home was built.
Yeah.
It was a condo, and it had a loft and everything.
Yeah. So you were house hacking, but you're instead of renting it out, you're running a business out of it,
Well, I was house hacking in two ways. I had a roommate, and then
running the
yeah,
business.
running the business.
That's dope.
Yeah. So I think rent at that time was about $600 for me.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
cheap.
and it was a really nice condo, which was 1,800 square feet. It had a loft, a really cool loft, a cool like living space area.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I was running my business out of it.
That sounds like a really good way to use the money that you've been making.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a little bit more, even though it was $600.
Yeah.
At that time for us, it felt like a stretch here
Oh,
and
okay.
there.
Yeah.
Here and there. Just at the time, the apartment was like $1,200 or somewhere around there, and that was expensive
Mm-hmm.
for us, or just in general.
Yeah. At the time.
Yeah, at that time. So, um, we just balled out, I guess. Got the spot, used the spot for work, and yeah. Besides that, I ended up reinvesting everything into equipment.
Did you have any regrets now that you look back on it? Like, should you have used the money for something else?
Yeah, I think I could have spent less money on the rent, or just even not balled out so much on the first place.
Yeah.
And then I think I should have bought a property back then for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
So this wasn't the right move for you. Your first experience.
I don't know. I don't know where I would have been now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because having that place really introduced me to clients. You
Yeah.
know, some of the clients that I brought over to the location, they kept me for a while doing like their headshots, their companies, and all that stuff. So I don't know where I would have been if I purchased a home and didn't have that studio.
So yeah, okay. So it sounds like it was the right move for, because you've grown from that.
Yeah, exactly. If it went the other way, I could have had an asset or something that maybe
Yeah.
I sold um, at some point and made some money.
Yeah.
So it's all different in ways and perspectives that I could have gone about it. Um, I personally I personally would have wanted to purchase a home with the mindset that I have now.
Yeah.
Uh, but it is what it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, even at that time when you're younger, the knowledge of the housing market that it's you don't know anything.
Yeah, I wasn't even in that space,
Yeah.
that
So
mental space or
for
whatever.
anything, you could have been losing a lot more money. You know what I mean? Like now we know if we bought a home, we would what we would do to the house to add value to it.
Yeah,
But at a young age, we probably wouldn't be doing that. We'd probably be fucking up the house. Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. The crazy thing is that that particular spot, I guess someone purchased it recently.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was something for sale because back then it was just they were considered apartments,
Yeah.
and they were very very unique apartments. So there were storefronts on the bottom, and then they had the living spaces up top, which is
Yeah.
very rare for Las Vegas, especially back then. And so if I would have known that it was on sale at some point, then I probably would have bought it.
Yeah.
Because it would have been cheap, and then it would have been a really cool asset to have.
That would have been a great investment.
Hmm.
That's something that I always think back on my money too. So when I started making like 8 to 10 grand a month, the first thing I did was like everybody else. I finally got a nice car, but the car
Mm,
is like $500 a month payment, which is
yeah,
fine. It's not like I was getting $1,000 a month payment.
yeah,
So that's what I did. I got myself a Mercedes SUV. It was still a tax write off, stuff like that. But um, when you first have that amount of money that you saved up, you're like, what can I do with this money?
yeah,
You know? And so I'm like, where can I buy another business? Should I invest it somewhere else? And this is where I was like, man, I'm tired of owning businesses, especially after that liquor store incident. I'm like, I just don't want to do that anymore. I want to be the old man that just collects money.
yeah,
How do I do that? I don't want to open up another restaurant and work all day, all night, and all this stuff. Like, I just want to collect. And so the first time I got this would be the second time. I'm sorry, this would be the third time.
mm,
The third time I got asked to join a investment group. I took it right away. I didn't think anything else. And this is with my, YouTube friends and stuff. And now I have an investment with Junbi Matcha, Shrimp Daddy, and a couple other food concepts that we have. And I feel like that was the smartest move that I could do was investing that with my friends. Um, but at the same time, I'm like, I also could have bought a few houses
yeah,
and maybe I would make some more money,
hmm,
you know? So I don't know where I would be if I didn't do that investment group stuff,
yeah,
but I do know that I'm happy I invested my money somewhere else into another avenue,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to figure out something like that too. I think it'd be fun to. I mean, I don't know if it'd be fun, but I would like to find a group of friends that we just kill it together.
Yeah, I think everyone has to have the same goals.
Yeah,
There are people who invest in restaurants and or in houses, and they just want to cash flow immediately.
yeah,
And then there's some that are in it for the long run, and they're not going to cash out till over 10 years later.
yeah,
So either way, when you invest your money, all this hard-earned money that you've worked so hard for in your life, and you finally have it, and the moment you invest it, it's gone. Don't think you're going to get it back.
hmm,
It's like gambling money. You got to think that it's going in and when it's ready, it'll grow,
yeah,
you know? And so, um, yeah, it's just got to be extra money. You know what I mean? And I think that's what hurts the most is that when you invest, you're not going to get that money back.
yeah,
That's why I'm thinking if I invested it in homes instead, I would definitely have a lot more money back
hmm,
faster.
hmm,
But it's not always about what's the fastest. So for me, being someone who doesn't have a 9 to 5, someone who's always self-employed and always owning his own businesses, which are small companies. I don't have a 401k. I don't have retirements.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to figure out ways to have retirement money.
Yeah,
So I don't care if I get cash flow right now. I just want to build all of my money up so when I do want to take it out, I'll have it.
I see.
So those were kind of the moves that I wanted to make in my life. Was it the right move or not? Um, it's definitely setting myself up for the right move.
Yeah,
I don't feel it yet,
right,
you
right.
know.
I feel the same. I think for me, it put me in a position where I know what I know now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So if I didn't go through all that, then I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. Um, and so I'm able to take more calculated moves,
yeah,
and position myself in a better, I guess, position.
yeah.
Um, now that I have that knowledge.
So so for both of us, we reinvested our money to try to make more money,
Yeah.
right? Is there one instance where you're like, that was the wrong one?
Oh, I see what you mean. Um, hmm.
Like, was there, did you have to buy all this equipment? You know, like for me, right now, I'm spending so much money on building this podcast out,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I guess for me, it was spending too much money on equipment. For some people, they like I do have a goal of owning an agency or not like I own an agency, but I do have a goal of building it out and all that stuff. But some people have a goal of building like a production house. So they're buying equipment all the time,
Yeah,
right? For me, what I figured out is um I don't need that much equipment.
yeah,
So over the years, I just ended up selling my stuff off.
right.
You know, like I ended up being like a one man team. And then if I ever needed help with editing or whatever, then I just hired somebody. Or like if they had equipment, they would go out and do the job with their equipment. You know what I mean? So I didn't need to have all this stuff. And back then I was like, I need to have this. I need to have three cameras, three glide cams and all like
Yeah.
all these lights. And so putting my money into that, I think was a bad decision because most of the time it just sat in the closet.
You just never even used it.
Yeah, I never really used it unless there was like a special occasion where I had to do a bigger production kind of thing.
What made you think that you needed to buy more stuff for your business?
It was just I was getting more busy, and then the vision that I had in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be doing these big production things.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was the client would have enough budget to actually rent out spaces, and those spaces had the equipment, um, or they required a specific camera, like a red camera, and so I would have to rent that anyways, instead of having uh, three or four Canons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Damn. So it's really just experience before
yeah,
you
I
learn
mean
all
it.
that.
That's just the cards that I got.
Yeah.
Some people they do want to have the reds and they do want to have all those Kino flow lights and stuff,
Yeah.
to be like a full production team. But in my case, I didn't need that. For me, it was like less is more kind of thing.
Right.
I could just like, I got this. I can run with this. If I need to rent, then I'll throw that into their budget kind of thing or the invoice. And usually those clients are able to afford it. And yeah, from there, I was just like, all right, let me sell off my equipment.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you thought you needed to scale by buying more equipment, but you didn't need to.
Which I could have bought. I could have put down a down payment on a house with that kind of money. Yeah.
Wow, that's how much stuff you bought.
Yeah. Throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a pretty big mistake.
Yeah, and what the
Um,
funny thing is, like now I just have one camera,
yeah,
one light, a
yeah,
couple stands, and that's it.
nice.
So it's like that money kind of just came and left.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if you guys are trying to scale your businesses or trying to find ways to grow, make sure you don't buy too much shit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the same thing for me. Um, I was trying to grow my liquor store. I was trying to grow the laundromat. You know, I wanted to buy new machines because they were all breaking. I wanted to turn, an area of my liquor store into a humidifier to have cigars, like a cigar area.
Yeah.
That would have cost a lot of money, things like that. Luckily, I didn't. Instead, I started buying stuff that were tax write-offs, like, being able to transport. Um, boxes and boxes of inventory. I didn't really spend too much money on that stuff. I think I just saved all my money, and when I had it, I bought a house finally.
Mm.
This is the matcha whisk. It's electric. It's very convenient to use. The electric matcha whisk is a fun, easy way to make matcha in a flash when you don't have the time or the space to break out your entire set. So you can still enjoy smooth, frothy matcha in just seconds, no matter where you are. So this is the bamboo matcha whisk. It's the most traditional way to make your matcha every morning. It'll help elevate it. It's a ritual that they used to do, and this is a 100-prong traditional bamboo matcha whisk. And it's foldable, so you can take it on the go. Very easy to use. I actually love using this. It just makes the whole experience that much better. And then this ladle is the way I use to actually get the serving size for the matcha. I get the right amount by using this ladle, put it into the bowl, and I start whisking away. And just like that, by adding some water, it's ready to drink. So visit one of the locations near you so you can get some matcha, try it out. And if you guys aren't near any of the locations, go to junebishop.com. You can use our promo code WINNING to get 10% off anything on the website. I think this is a great way for you guys to really try this instead of using anything else for caffeine, such as sodas, coffees, pre-workouts. This is very clean. I do this myself and I love it. How many different avenues of income do we need to
Right.
survive?
Yeah, man. It's getting crazy. I think right now I'm trying to have a couple of different incomes.
Right? One job isn't going to cut it right now.
Yeah, one job is not going to cut it.
And you're just
Sure.
renting in a place where it's actually affordable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also in a different position than a lot of people where, I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but just doing the freelance stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to think about multiple incomes in case something fails.
So how many different gigs do you have, or jobs and sources of income do you have right now?
So luckily, jobs come in from everywhere. I was able to establish myself as being able to do anything with photography and video, whether that's fitness, cars, um, yeah, just about anything, weddings. So,
So wedding is one avenue. Do you
yeah.
think that, or do you consider all photography and videography just one actual avenue?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because coming from the outside world, it feels like that should be one.
For sure. I see it differently.
Yeah.
I see, because I have friends that are just wedding photographers.
Yeah.
And if something were to happen where they weren't getting any gigs, then it'll be really difficult for them to survive.
Yeah.
For me, I see all the different styles, or I guess genres, as different avenues of income.
I see.
So like if I'm having trouble with weddings, then I just go over to headshots or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And developing that clientele. But I can see where you're going with that. Right now, I am trying to establish different incomes. So like, if you want to lump everything into photography and video, as far as like those genres, then the other income aspects would be starting my own YouTube channel, doing podcasts,
Investing in like crypto.
yeah, crypto, and then eventually looking into assets like a home.
Right.
And those are the foundations that I'm trying to set right now
Yeah.
to bring those extra income,
Well, yeah,
or that extra income.
you're in a great path because you're a lot younger than I am, and so I think your foundation is barely begun, but it's in a
Yeah.
good place right now.
Yeah.
So you're headed in a good direction. For me, I'm a little more established because I'm not 10 years older than you, but it feels like it sometimes. But I have, so my avenues, right? We have all kinds of social media stuff, right? YouTube is one avenue, and then we get sponsorships within YouTube and stuff like that. So that's still like one avenue,
Mm.
right? Um, then the other avenue I have is investing in restaurants. That's my second avenue. My third is investing in stocks, which I would say is same avenue as investing in crypto. So that shares the same type of avenue. Then I have real estate as my other avenue, as in like that's not a passive income. It's more of an active job. And I get checks every single month because I help so many clients every month. And so that's a fourth avenue of income. And then I just recently stopped a fifth and sixth source of income, which was independent contracting work with other businesses who needed help managing their business. And so I think I had about, at the time, I did like four different businesses of managing other people's businesses, and those were other sources of income as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now I've cut that out completely, so I can focus on, like you said, assets, owning homes, and creating that type of passive income.
Yeah.
So, just by doing all that, I'm able to afford this home, and my wife can be a stay-at-home mom, and also work from home and help with our sponsorships, and our kids can, have a better life.
Yeah.
And I think if we lived paycheck to paycheck, oh man, it would be horrible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If I just had one source of income, I'd probably be living in a condo right now,
Yeah.
right? And my kids would probably be in a very bad school district because we'd be in a bad area where we can afford a home.
Yeah.
So, um, I would say you definitely need at least three sources of income nowadays.
Yeah.
Before you needed two. Now it's three with the way inflation is,
Yeah. And that's so hard, man.
right?
It really is, especially for um it might be a little bit easier for people who are like us, where we kind of are involved in that freelance aspect.
Yeah.
But for people that are stuck in the 9 to 5, that's kind of tough.
I mean, mine isn't like is mine considered freelance? Because I'm just trying to like do business everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like okay. I thought freelance was more like you have one thing that you're good at, and then you try to find all kinds of work in that.
Or you can just be an entrepreneur. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Just that type of schedule. You're not locked into a 9 to
nine to
5
five.
is what I'm trying to say.
So at what point are you going to be like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, would you sacrifice all of that and just move to some place like Montana and live a simple life? Or
Mm,
would you always just work this hard till the day you die?
no, I definitely don't want to do that.
Right?
I'm trying to get to a point where I don't have to work at all almost.
That is the goal.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that it's so weird because I have some friends, and again, I don't know their like backgrounds, if they got like inherited money or whatever, but I have some friends that just live within their means and they're happy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They make like an okay income or a decent income, and their expenses aren't too crazy. They're able to go on 1 or 2 trips a year, and
They're happy with their
they're
life.
happy.
Yeah.
And so I'm having this battle of like, how hard do I want to work? What exactly do I want to accomplish? Because like it's like, do I want a $2 million, $3 million home, $1 million home? Does it really matter? Do I just want like a small home with a big backyard? I'm trying to figure out that aspect for myself, and then once I could figure that out, then I think it's just really living within my means, and just having that income.
I think you figure out what you want while you're in that experience.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
you just got to pick one and be in that house and be
Yeah,
like, am I happy or do I need to upgrade or downgrade?
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's when you figure things out. It's
right.
through the experience.
Yeah, I just have some people. I have some friends that they're just obsessed with work.
Yeah.
They're gonna work until the day they die.
I feel like that's us, dude. Like
Oh, that's not me, bro.
we're trying. What we're doing is we're working so hard right now so we can retire early, right?
Yeah,
But it's like things in the world keep getting more expensive and getting more fucked up that I can't.
yeah,
Or my family is growing to where I can't retire early because now the money that I'm trying to work hard for is going to them.
yeah. Um,
Like everything is getting in the way of me trying to retire early, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. It just depends on what your idea of retirement is too. Because I have some friends that they work, but they feel like they're retired because they're doing what they love.
Oh, I
You,
see.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas for us, we're trying to find what's going to bring us that income, and we have to grind, and we have to do all these things, and we have to do things that we don't enjoy,
Yeah.
and it feels like work at times.
I think my retirement life is going to be when I'm collecting only passive income. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like I just want to own multiple houses and just collect.
Yeah, for me, what I figured out is having things automated.
Yes, that is passive income.
So whether that's I mean, I feel like it's with businesses. So like, let's say you're doing rentals or whatever, you have to automate it in some sense. Unless you're okay with checking in on the house every once in a while and doing
Yeah.
that little bit of work, then if you can automate those processes and then you have a couple properties that are bringing in that cash flow, then you're just chilling.
Yeah, I think like actively going to the house once a month, that's fine. You
Yeah.
know, that's little stuff.
Yeah.
I would still consider that like retirement life, you
Mm,
know. Um, but when you're actually in a day-to-day thing, that's where I'm like I don't want to do day-to-day stuff in like
me either.
when I'm 50, you know.
Yeah. And that's part of the steps that I'm taking for photography and video.
So like if you were to own a business and you automate your business and pretty much you're just an owner who collects, you have to find someone who's as good as you to take care of all of the responsibilities.
Yes.
So like if someone calls you and says, "Hey dude, um someone slipped at the office. What do I do?" You got to find someone who knows what they're going to do instead of
Yeah.
calling you,
Hmm.
right? Until you're at that point, you're not retired.
Yeah.
Like I don't want no one calling me for anything, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want to be in Hawaii and enjoying time with my grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing too is if there's like a easier or faster or whatever kind of way to make things better, um, I'd rather just do that.
Isn't that what everyone's trying to do?
Yeah, but there is ways to do it, and I think some people are either afraid to go through those processes or like not willing. Like for me, I was like, okay, if I'm making $800 on a project, right? What benefits me more? Spending out of that $800, giving $200 to an editor, to edit it, and then I have that peace of mind of like, okay, they're gonna cover it, and then I just have to check in, maybe like when they're done with the edit, just make some notes, um, and then now I can do all that work from Lake Mammoth or something, or
Yeah.
like vacationing. Like I don't mind doing that and checking in. And
Yeah.
then if I absolutely have to, then I'll jump in to refine the edits or something. But you have to decide, okay, from that money that I'm making, how much am I willing to give up to automate the systems?
That's where I'm at right now in my life. A
Hmm.
lot of things are being automated, and I do have to check in when I'm on trips.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where now I'm a few years in that when I am checking in while I'm on trips, it's work.
Yeah.
You know, so I am not with my wife or my kids while I'm checking in.
Yeah.
And so I want to be completely
Oh,
hands
for
off.
sure. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
And that's just that there's a shift there that needs to be made.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I'm not at that point yet.
yeah.
But if you can figure that out, you just let me know.
Yeah, no,
You
I'm trying to
know,
figure it out too,
so
dude.
but that's the thing is if you can make those small steps and to get you to where you want to be like that,
Yeah.
then like go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about taking risks, guys. Having all kinds of different avenues of income.
Yeah,
We
for sure.
all need it nowadays, unless you're relying on mommy and daddy's money, which not everybody can. And so, get a head start while you're young. If you can work and do all these different things, do it.
Yeah.
Because as you get older, you're gonna get tired, like me, and I'm not gonna want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I think if you can invest and learn some skill sets,
yeah,
bro, even if you're mowing the lawn one day
yeah.
and then taking pictures the next day and then doing some Instagram posts for a business the weekend,
You know,
you
you know how to automate that right there. Uh, while you're doing your Instagram and whatever things you just mentioned, and then the other day you're mowing the lawn, you would invest in a I don't know what they're called, but maybe like an iRobot for mowing the lawn, right? You just tell your neighbors, hey, I'll mow your lawn for you for $20 a week, and they're like, sure. They didn't ask you how you're gonna do it,
yeah,
and all you do is turn on your machine, and it cuts their lawn. I think that's a great investment. Why don't we just do that for the whole block and the whole community?
yeah. I think if you can figure out a way to make things easier for yourself,
Yeah.
um, then do it.
I think that's a Gen Z's world right now. So I just saw a TikTok about someone who hired Gen Zs in their office. And so the boss said, bring me 50 blank pages. just like papers. And they're like, okay. And so when the Gen Z brought them 50 pages of paper, the boss said, why is it warm? And he's like, oh, well, I didn't want to count it all by hand. So I went to the copy machine and typed in 50 and printed 50 blank pages.
Mm.
So they didn't have to use their brain to count.
Mm.
And they're like, wow, like that's really smart.
Yeah.
So any way you can automate stuff, like, man, Gen Z's got it down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man.
all right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know that it's a little stressful thinking about all kinds of jobs, but hey, if you have that one good job, there's a lot of nurses, doctors out there, lawyers who don't need different sources of income. But you got to remember, these people who have money, they're also buying assets and getting passive income. So you guys should start thinking about that too. And I hope you guys enjoyed every single episode that we do, and just catch us on the next one. All right, so peace.